And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 5th Annual Little East Conference Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. My name is Jim Mullins. I'm from UMass Dartmouth, and I'm proud to be Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon's celebration of Little East Conference Athletic Achievement. We've got a wonderful program ahead. We've got some inductees that we can't wait to hear from, but we're going to start the production this afternoon by introducing the Little East Conference Commissioner, Cora Brumley.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're so excited to have you here, both to celebrate your accomplishments and also to reunite with both athletes and support staff at our member institutions. So I know everyone's hungry, so we do have a couple important people that are going to make remarks, but we'll go through it quickly, and then we'll be able to release everyone for their meal. So at this time, please join me. I'd like to introduce Lori Runksmeyer. She's the athletic director at Eastern Connecticut State University. She also has the privilege of serving as the chair of our Athletic Directors Council. Lori?
Cora said it'd be quick, but you know what? I brought up folder, so good luck. Thanks, Cora. As always, the Little East has done a great job organizing this event and honoring the history of the conference. Thank you for all you've done to make this happen. I'd also like to thank Al Bean and the staff at Southern Maine for choosing this venue and being a great host. I want to say congratulations to all the honorees today. You should be justifiably proud of your induction into the LEC Hall of Fame. Less than 60 people have achieved this honor in a conference that has existed over 30 years. By my estimate, that means well over 7,500 student athletes, and let's face facts, countless administrators and coaches have worn a jersey or worked for a Little East Conference school. You are in the top 1%. Congratulations. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, giving remarks on behalf of the Little East Conference President's Council, Chair-elect Dr. Frank Sanchez, the President of Rhode Island College.
Well, thank you, Lori. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. Well, this is such an exciting time to be celebrating our honorees. In fact, you know, it's 21 years ago and a month that my dad was inducted in the Hall of Fame over at Colorado State for wrestling. So I really admire and appreciate our honorees today in a very, very personal way and deep way. So congratulations to everyone. It's amazing to think that the conference was founded now 32 years ago, and it initially started with 6 schools. And as I've learned about the conference, actually there's just one sport when it all got kicked off a little over 3 decades ago, and that was basketball. Of course, today, now the conference certainly sponsors 19 varsity sports, and we now have 9 conference members. And in many ways, it doesn't so much resemble what the conference was when it started, but it does hold some very important core values that we all kind of admire and appreciate today. Certainly, all of our members have a common mission of educating young people from all walks of life. Certainly, we have a number of students and student athletes who are the first in their family to get a college education. Many come from modest means. We also certainly have the expectation that our student athletes not only excel on the mat or on the court or on the field, but certainly in the classroom. And then also we can all rally behind our student athletes, giving back to their communities in the form of service. They are all campus leaders, and you will hear in just a few minutes how successful so many of them have become over the years as we induct the 2018 class, Hall of Fame class. We are extremely proud of all of the afternoon's inductees, and especially certainly coming from Rhode Island College, our 2 anchor women this afternoon. I certainly also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, certainly for their leadership, and the chair, Al Bean, and Commissioner Brumley for your vision and leadership and support for the entire conference. So thank you so much, and enjoy this afternoon's recognition. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for your remarks. Thank you, Lori, for doing the math for us. We appreciate it. We're not going to have it by table, so please just help yourself. The buffet is open. Please enjoy yourself. Okay. I hope everyone's enjoying your meal. Is this on? As you know, so this is a good problem to have. Everyone's having such a great time connecting. Is it not on? Are we having? Okay, there we are. Technical difficulties, right? The best laid plans always foiled by technical difficulties. So we are hopeful that you have enjoyed your meal or enjoying everyone's company. As you know, an event like this doesn't take place without a pretty strong team effort. So if you'll indulge me, I'd like to acknowledge some of the folks that helped put this event together. First of all, we owe a debt of gratitude to our Hall of Fame committee members. And after I say all their names, I hope that these gentlemen, who I know are very humble, will nonetheless stand and allow us to acknowledge them. Al Bean, Southern Maine, our chair. Scott Ames, Sports Information Director at Western Connecticut. B.L. Elfring, SID at Southern Maine. Bob Multa, Eastern Connecticut. If you'll join me, gentlemen, if you'll please stand. These are all folks that like to be behind the scenes, but we owe them a huge debt of gratitude, not just for this event, but really for all of our athletic events. So thank you for everything you do on our campus in support of our student athletes, but also for taking this extra time to support this conference effort. I'd also like to thank Johnson's, which is our corporate sponsor. I'd like to also thank all of you who decided to help sponsor a program ad for all of your loved ones. We appreciate your generosity. That all goes to support this event. I'd also like to say an extra thank you to the University of Southern Maine Sports Information Department, which is managing our webcast so that those who wanted to be with us but were unable to travel are able to enjoy this event vicariously through the digital means. And I'd also like to thank Bob Multa, who is serving as our official photographer. Thank you, Bob, for always being there for us. And at this time, I'd also like to thank and reintroduce our Master of Ceremonies, Jim Mullins.
Thank you very much, Cora. What we'll do at the Little East Conference Hall of Fame induction ceremony is we'll bring the first group of the inductees, if they would come forward and join us at the front of the room. So with the first four recipients who will be listed on the program, please come forward, and that would be Beth Reagan accepting for Dr. C. Robert Miller, Cara Fisk-Hennessy, Tony Barros, and Warren Pretty. Please come forward. So we'll begin our induction ceremony. The first person we will call to the microphone to accept the induction from Eastern Connecticut State University for Dr. C. Robert Miller is Beth Reagan, the Eastern Connecticut State Assistant Women's Basketball Coach. Beth?
Thank you. There are key pivotal moments in our lives when our journeys are changed forever. Having Coach Miller as my coach was one of those key pivotal moments. My name is Beth Reagan, and I played for Coach Miller from 1975 to 1979 when Eastern was then Eastern Connecticut State College. I want to thank the Little East Conference Hall of Fame. I want to thank Bob and Judy Miller for asking me to accept this honor. I want to congratulate all the other inductees as well. And I want you to understand that when I speak for a few moments today, it's from the perspective as his player. I did assist him for a couple years as well as a coach, but it's from that pivotal moment. So back to that point about key pivotal moments. My twin sister, Kathy Regan Pine, and I were two Irish American Indian poor kids growing up in New Britain, Connecticut, when Coach Miller saw us play in the state tournament, and it changed our lives forever. Yes, he recruited us. And like other coaches in the room might appreciate, it took about 2 seconds for us to say, yes, we want to go, okay? because it was an opportunity of a lifetime. We were great basketball players, great students at that time as well, and we took this chance. Playing for Bob was very unique. He was the first male coach we ever played for. This was back in 1975. We thought he was crazy. We thought he was crazy, okay? But that being said, this was the time of the AIAW, before the NCAA, okay? This was the time when there was just small school and large school. He was perfect for this job. He had the experience and he had the know-how. He taught us so much. When we went to play, remember, we played teams like, this was our schedule, it was before the Little East. We played UMass, UConn, URI, Princeton, Harvard, Yale. That's who we played against, all right? All right? And let me tell you, it was an experience. Not only did we think he was crazy, I think they thought, who is this guy, okay? But he was an advocate. He was an advocate that stood up for women. He respected us, and he respected the women that we became as well. Right? Listen, no one's perfect. There were times we wanted to kill him, just like everyone else, okay? We sat in our room thinking, oh my God, Coach Miller, oh my God, in our dorms. But let me tell you, when you go through 4 years and you're playing for a coach, for me, and probably some of you can relate to this, as we moved through those 4 years, we knew and we appreciated him more. We saw, okay, and when we went beyond those 4 years and we went on into our professional lives and other things in our personal lives, he was still part of that. And we saw just how important this man was to us. Right? We came to know and love him. Listen, there's only a few people, my sister, my family, that can call me Bethy. Judy and Bob Miller can. Now, Denise and Lori, don't get any ideas, okay, just so you know. But Judy, I spoke to his wife, Judy. Bob just turned 85. He's in hospice care, and she's his caretaker. It is my honor to be here. But Judy shared with me something special that she saw on one of his posters that he kept from Eastern, and I wanted to finish with that. It was this: being an Eastern Connecticut State College women's basketball player. It is, quote, what a small girl wants to become and what an older woman looks back on with pride. This is the program that he built, from the AIAW to the early NCAA, and now the one that Coach Beerley has taken and built into an NCAA Division III powerhouse. I am proud to be part of that program still today. And I say to you with heartfelt thank yous and appreciation, I accept this honor on the behalf of Robert Miller. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.
Next to come to the microphone for induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame, from Keene State College, Kara Fisk Hennessy.
Thank you. What an honor to be inducted here today into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame. Congrats to all of my fellow inductees. When I was notified, I was definitely surprised. As a Keene State student athlete in the late 1990s, I was able to compete in both NCAA Division II and NCAA Division III as we transitioned at the beginning of my junior year into the Little East Conference in Division III competition. The switch from D2 to D3 was heralded as embracing the whole student experience. Did we know what to expect? Maybe. To be completely honest, the difference was small. Our coaches' expectations did not change. The LEC welcomed us with open arms. The competition was relatively the same as it was when we played in Division II, and we were all athletes. Athletes who came out of high school playing multiple sports, who were involved in the arts, who celebrated our academic achievements, and who worked hard for the opportunities we earned both on and off the fields of play. Being able to end my college career with both of my teams winning LEC championships and moving on to the NCAAs is an experience that I wish all student athletes could have. And it took a lot of work, as individual players and as teams. At Keene State, we were fortunate to have experienced and knowledgeable coaches who knew when to push us and knew when to give us a little room. On the soccer field, I wanted to thank my goalkeeper coaches Terry Dimmick and Deb Robitaille, who lit the fire and kept it going, and Denise Lyons, our fiery head coach, who could spark fear in us and motivate us to play at our very best, even if it was a quick, thickly accented in the corner that kept us going. On the softball field, I thank my coaches Charlie and Deb Beach. Charlie, who took a cerebral approach to the game by drilling down to mechanics and tweaking the natural talent we all brought to the table, and who affectionately described coaching our team like herding cats. We had a lot of strong personalities. But when the game was on the line, we got our job done, making it further into the NCAA tournament than we'd ever imagined. Where Charlie was the nails, Deb Beach was the glue, keeping the pulse of the team when she was able to join us. I was able to earn individual accolades that made me famous, as one current colleague said just in a staff meeting on Friday. But none of our success could have been experienced without entire teams full of skilled players and teammates who I'm still close friends with today. None of my success would have been experienced without my family always in my corner, full of athletic talent, loyalty, commitment, and drive to be the best at whatever we chose to do. My dad, who was my first baseball coach, and my mom, who motivated us by giving us every opportunity to get better, including pitching to us in the backyard. My brothers, who are all ultra-competitive in their own rights with soccer, basketball, and baseball. They challenge me on a daily basis. My family started this lifelong relationship with sports for me, and how lucky I am to have had the childhood I had. I consider myself lucky now, too. I get to coach at my college. I get to coach in the LEC. I get to coach with another LEC Hall of Famer, Megan Pacheco, who's here today, as an assistant. My soccer coach, Irish, is now my colleague. My softball coach, Charlie, had me assist him for a year before I took on his role and continues to be an ear when I need insight. And I get to create the lifelong relationship with sports for my current players, as well as with my own family. My sons, Carter, Christian, and Clayton, and my daughter, Callaway, have two of the most competitive, loyal, and driven parents there are. Now, I have to give my husband a shout-out because he's a Plymouth State Hall of Fame member, and that's kind of like, Keene State, Plymouth State, we've got to give him a shout-out. Yes, you can give him a round of applause. He'd probably feel good about that. He's in the Hall of Fame at Plymouth for baseball. We can only hope that they embrace the opportunity to experience the highs and the lows, the passion, the feeling of team, and the real-life skills that sport can provide. Thank you, Little East Conference, for this honor today.
Next to the microphone, wow, that was loud. Next to the microphone for induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame, from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, Tony Barros.
Good afternoon, guys. Before I get into my speech here, I have to give my daughter a shout out. I was fortunate enough to get inducted into the Hall of Fame at UMass Boston on Thursday evening, and I gave a shout out to the family, and she wanted her personal shout out. So Ella, here we are in Portland. You're the coolest kid ever, and I love you. I also want to acknowledge a couple of people who are here, along with my family and friends. Stephanie and Jeremiah, can you guys just stand up for a second? These two folks have played were pivotal in my life and helped my parents guide me throughout my life in the inner city. If it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't be here getting this award, and I wouldn't be as successful as I am, so thank you guys. Doesn't mean you're going to get any money anytime soon or good gifts, but I appreciate you guys. And for my University of Massachusetts family who are here today, I tried to switch the speech up a little bit, so bear with me. I felt a little guilty. It was a long ride. But I appreciate you guys, and thanks for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. It's a great honor, and I appreciate it. I want to thank everyone and extend my sincere gratitude to my family, my friends, my coaches at the University of Massachusetts, my teammates, and every single person who's made it possible for a kid whose hunger was bigger than the struggle. To be able to stand up here and accept this honor, and an honor that I would take very seriously. My journey to the University of Massachusetts was not one that I foreseen. When I was in high school at St. Sebastian's, I signed to go play at Valley Forge Military Academy at prep year, and I had a bunch of D1 offers, and ultimately when it came down to the end of the school year, I decided to not go. I decided to go to St. Leo University in Tampa, where I was going to play on a team, and when I was there, I realized this place isn't for me. I remember calling my mom, saying, "Hey, Mom, it's a weekend, but I think you got to get me out of here." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, there's a lot of good-looking women around here, and I'm coming from an all-boy Catholic school. It's not a good idea." So word got out pretty quickly that I was going to leave and get back to the States, to Boston, and I got a lot of phone calls. They were calling my mom. But University of Massachusetts, they were a little different. They didn't believe in a curfew. They called anytime they wanted and pretty often. But ultimately, I found myself playing with them second semester, freshman year, in Jacksonville in the holiday tournament. And I can say it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So thank you guys for bringing me on there. What was reality? I grew up with a single mom, a bunch of females in the home, 3 sisters, a couple more added on, friends that were taken in. Things weren't easy, but my mom made things happen. I found basketball. Basketball changed my life. I spent most of my days playing in the park that was behind my house with a lot of friends that I have here today. Most of my days shoveling the full court when it was snowing, playing with a hard ball. It's not fun, but I made it happen. I went on to play AAU for YABC. Went on to play for St. Sebastian's, a 1,000-point scorer there. Went on to play for the Cape Verde national team, won a couple of medals, done things that were first for the country. And again, it was those folks at that table that made it possible. So thank you guys again. When I say basketball saved my life, I truly mean it. Basketball saved me from becoming a statistic, a purpose, and a love for the sport. Basketball has taken me places I only dreamt of as a kid. Through basketball, I have learned to respect your opponents, referees, coaches, and teammates. You learn to acknowledge that your opponent may be better than you. In basketball, much like life, there are ups and downs, success and failures, endless challenges and obstacles. But in the end, as Charles Lindbergh so eloquently stated, success is not measured by what a man accomplishes, but by the opposition he has encountered and the courage with which he has maintained the struggle against overwhelming odds. Again, thank you, Little East Conference, for this amazing honor. Thank you, University of Massachusetts. Have a good one.
Next for induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, and a dear old friend, Warren Prady.
Thank you, Jim. I wish you didn't use the word old, but first of all, congratulations to all the other inductees. Your achievements as athletes and coaches are truly inspirational, and I'm very happy to be part of that group. First of all, I'd like to recognize my family, who are my support group. I have 3 grandchildren here, Kaylee, Tom, and Matt. They're all good athletes, so if there are any coaches here looking to recruit maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, they could help. There's one missing, Will. He's playing in a hockey tournament in New Hampshire at the moment. My son and Brian, my daughter Lisa, and my second daughter Rachel. Actually, my daughter-in-law are also here, and my wife Janice. So we've been married for 49 years. Hopefully, we'll make it to 50 next year. Coaches know that the sacrifice that their family makes for them to be able to pursue their goal of being the best coach possible are very, very severe, and I appreciate that, and I hope that comes through strongly. Briefly, I got my index cards mixed up. You can tell my age. In 1989, Bob Dowd, who was the AD at UMass Dartmouth, took a chance on me, hired me as a tennis coach for both the men and women's programs. Not a lot of curriculum vitae behind that, but he just had a hunch that maybe I could be successful, and I'll always be grateful for him making that decision. My mentors at the time at UMass Dartmouth, Bruce Wheeler, a baseball coach, John Raleigh, hockey coach, Brian Baptiste, a primary goal to win that conference tournament. It helped recruiting significantly, made my job a lot easier. And again, I'm grateful for those people also. I appreciate the recognition this induction represents, okay? I was a part-time coach, contract coach. You balance family, you balance full-time job, and then you do what you're really, really interested in, and I was able to do it basically based on the career path that I had. Of the approximately 150 men and women that I coached over the 23 seasons, they deserve all the credit for any accolades that have come my way. I didn't win one tennis match. My major achievement was to help them navigate the difficult course from being a freshman through senior, and in most cases graduating in 4 years. Those student athletes are now doctors, nurses, they're successful business personnel, and also engineers. In fact, I still work part-time as a tax consultant for one of my former players who has a CPA firm. So it's a very small world. Team after our first season, we were 3-11, but we could see a little bit of light in the tunnel. And I consider it my lucky tie. It's very narrow, out of style, a little ragged, but I wore it for over 200 tennis matches, and it worked. And I feel very lucky to be in the company of the group that I'm in tonight, and I appreciate all the work that the committee and the Little East Conference did in getting me up here. Thank you.
At this point in time, if I could have our next three inductees, Nick Pilat, Christy Lodi-Proctor, and Nicole Riley, if she's with us, please join us at the front of the room. Next to the microphone to accept induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame, from Plymouth State University, Nick Pilat.
Thank you. First thing I would like to do is to congratulate all the inductees here today. I know how important it is for me to receive this honor, so I'm sure everybody feels the same way. So congratulations. One of the things that I want to do up here is essentially thank all the people that are essentially the reason why I'm standing here today. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Little East Conference. I think as I look around, I know that and certainly not every conference has their Hall of Fames. So for the Little East Conference to devote their energy to not only support and recognize their current student athletes, they've also devoted that time and energy to recognize some of the athletes of the past. So I thank you very much for that. I'd also like to thank fellow 2012 Little East Hall of Fame inductee John P. Clark, who was Plymouth State's athletic director while I was at that institution. I thoroughly enjoyed being a basketball player, but after watching and being able to witness how John Clark went about his job, it really made me feel extremely honored to be a Panther. And to see him go about his business each and every day, I knew that I selected the right institution. I'd also like to thank all of my teammates. Basketball is a team sport. I would not be standing up here today if it wasn't for each and every one of my teammates. That's anybody that's each and every day in practice and helping guys like me get better at our craft. A special thank you needs to go out to my college roommate and teammate, Matt Boudreau, who's no longer with us. I went to college when I was 17 years old, and Matt was 18, and we shared a dorm room 300 in Belknap, and we had some interesting conversations, and I had never really left home in my entire life, and I wanted to go home a number of times, and if it wasn't for Matt, I probably would have, and so he's directly responsible for me standing up here because I wouldn't have had a career at Plymouth State. I wouldn't have graduated from Plymouth State, and I wouldn't be where I am. I definitely need to thank Matt. I apologize. I got to thank all my coaches from the moment I started playing organized basketball. Coach Hartwell, Coach Watson, Coach Littlefield, Coach Shineman, Coach Completo, Coach McIver, Coach Clark, Coach Sherman, Coach D, Coach Andruski, Coach Setner, Coach Truman, and also my father, who's been coaching me forever. I probably wasn't the easiest guy ever to coach, and these guys sacrificed their time and energy to spend time with me to help me with my craft. Much appreciated. I also have to thank my family. As a student athlete, you make a choice in where you want to go in life, what sport you want to pursue. I chose basketball. My family didn't choose basketball, but they chose to support me. I can think of countless trips to places like Jackman, Maine, where I'm sure none of you guys have ever heard of, whether or not my family from Norridge Walk is traveling across the White Mountains in a snowstorm just to watch Plymouth State play basketball. It's that support system that allowed me to continue what I was doing, and that support system years later, it's been 13 years now since we played a basketball game. That same family is here supporting me,
Our next inductee into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame from Rhode Island College, Christy Lowdy Proctor.
So I kept my speech rather short and sweet. I'd like to start off by thanking the Little East Conference for honoring me tonight. I'd also like to congratulate the other inductees. It's an honor to be here with all of you tonight. I'd like to thank the administrative staff that's here from Rhode Island College, Dr. Sanchez, Don Tencher, Joanna, especially the athletic department. They were a huge part of my success, and so I thank you guys. I wasn't always a star softball player. My dad loves to tell the story about when I was in Little League. They were trying to turn me into a pitcher, and one day during the game, I hit a batter. It was the batter standing in the on-deck circle. So, needless to say, that was my last pitch ever thrown. I went on to have a great career at first base, didn't throw many balls, so. I want to thank my amazing father for everything he did for me. He's the reason I'm standing here today. He spent hours coaching me, making me practice throwing balls over my head. I'd complain, I'm never going to catch that, and he'd say, one day you will. I'm going to keep throwing it that high. And eventually I caught that ball. He taught me perseverance in sports and in life. I also want to thank my coaches and my teammates. It's not the statistics or the games that we won that I remember. It's the rituals, the van rides, and the fun that we had off the field. I finally want to thank my husband. He never got to see me play in college, but he loves to brag about me, and he continues to support me in everything that I do. Thank you again for this honor.
Our next inductee into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame is Nicole Riley from Rhode Island College, and her award will be accepted by Joanne D'Alessandro.
Joanne's going to accept it, but she won't talk. My name is Don Tenchero. I'm the Director of Athletics at Rhode Island College, and we want to thank you for this incredible honor on behalf of our inductee. She's supposed to be on her way. But you saw Charlie Beachy, and it just reminds me, for the people that played during that era, Nicole was just one of the greatest pitchers in the country at the time. But it was a time, I think, for the conference, probably the greatest time in softball history for the conference. That doesn't mean Eastern Connecticut didn't have better teams in the 70s or Keene State at some point. But Charlie was telling me Nicole used to, every time she'd pitch, would run around the mound and then come back and jump up 3 times, and most of the time she would throw a strike. And the competitiveness in our conference was, Charlie said, you know, I used to have a clock on her because you're only allowed so much time between the next pitch. And if Charlie had ever caught her, he would have been screaming at the umpire. And he said, I'd never catch her. She was always like a second. And that's what a great pitcher she was. She was always prepared, had an incredible career. And I know if she was here today, she would thank you so much for this incredible honor. So thank you.
And now if I could have the final 4 inductees approach the stage, that would be Diana Duff, Kim Brewer-Greiger, Richard Myers, and Jamie Rosario Persandini. Please come forward. Our next inductee into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame is Diana Duff, and her award will be accepted by the athletic director at the University of Southern Maine, Mr. Al Bean.
I'm not Al Bean, as many of you know. And I found out about 10 minutes ago that I was going to accept on Diana's behalf. I'm not surprised she forgot. She forgot about every play we called. I accused her of forgetting how to play defense many times, but she didn't forget how to shoot. And as a coach, shooting makes up for a multitude of sins. Okay, and I was fortunate to come to University of Southern Maine in 87, 88. She was a junior, and she put us on her back and carried us to the Final Four. So I got the big monkey off my back and proved that maybe I could coach at the college level by taking the first team from the University of Southern Maine basketball to the Final Four. So I want to congratulate all the honorees. I saw Mr. Barrows play. I saw Nick Pilot play. I also watched him play golf. He's not a bad golfer either. Okay, from that. And I just, again, thank you to the conference for honoring her, and it's short, and I'm out of here.
Next for induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame from the University of Southern Maine, Kim Brewer-Greiger, and I believe this time the award will be accepted by the athletic director, aforementioned AD, Al Bean.
Well, it's hard to believe that we have two inductees and we're in this town and we can't get either one of them here. I think what I'm dreading most is standing in for the picture for Kim. No one will ever confuse me with a track athlete. Kim's husband is in the military, and they are in the process of being relocated. So she was not able to attend, but she certainly expressed her sentiments and her honor at being inducted into the Little East Conference. Kim Brewer was a tremendous athlete, as you read probably in your program. 19 Little East Conference championships, 3 trips to the NCAA National Championship. She was a phenomenal athlete. She was an even better person, and certainly one of the people that at our institution we hold up high as a symbol of one of the greatest student athletes that we've ever had. So I'm disappointed that she could not be here to accept this honor, but I'm certainly pleased and privileged to respond for her and accept this and welcome her into the Little East Hall of Fame. My congratulations to all of you receiving awards today. Thank you all for being here. And again, my congratulations to Kim Brewer. Thank you.
I'm excited. Next for induction into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame from Western Connecticut State University, Richard Myers.
I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees and their wonderful honors today. Thank the Little East Conference. Thank Jamie for allowing me to be on her coattails to get here. She played for me for 3 years, right in the midst of all those things that you see in the program that we accomplished. So. Pardon me, thank you. There's an analogy I'd like to use very quickly for all of you. To me, being a head coach is a lot like being a conductor in an orchestra. We take our piece of music, the game, we put our interpretation on it, the sheet music or the game, we get our musicians together, the players, and we try to give them our interpretation of how the game can be played or the music can be played. But without their hard work and dedication, nothing would happen. The music would be flat. And it's interesting, at the end of a concert, the conductor takes the bows, asks for the orchestra to stand up, takes their bows, and very appropriately, the conductor leaves, leaving the orchestra. Thanks.
And our final inductee into the Little East Conference Hall of Fame from Western Connecticut State University, Jamie Rosario Bersadoni, excuse me.
Hello. Whew, okay. I'd like to say thank you to everyone for being here. You know, there are so many people and so little time. There isn't enough time for all the thanks.
that need to be told in a awards banquet and in the, I guess you'd say, the timeline of an athlete. As an athlete, there's so many moments that help form us as athletes along our journeys. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, because those little moments count so much. Thank you to the LEC. Thank you to Rich. Thank you to Western Connecticut, because I feel like at the end of a road, when you're, at the end of your athletic road, and you look back and you're like, man, I couldn't have done what I did without all of those, what seemed like small moments, but they really are huge. So thank you to all of you that have contributed just a little bit to any athlete to inspire them. You may not think you did very much, but remember that you have. I'd like to thank also Dan Altro, who was the assistant coach at the time. He introduced me to Western. I'd like to thank my family, who supported me through many years of volleyball and many years of traveling, and who really pushed me and supported me. Thank you to my husband and my children that are here for making this trip possible. We are a newly retired active duty military family, so I understand the other induction. When you move, thank you. We have just finished a move, and it's a tough time when you move as a military family. It's so this is a big trip for us, so thank you. I'd like to thank my WCSU family, to include Scott Ames, who was always at the university doing everything. I mean, everything. He was like, if you needed it done, go to Scott. He can get it done. So thank you, Scott, for being here. Ed Farrington, who's not here, who is the AD at the time. They always supported us in any way that they could. And most of all, thank Rich Myers, who I'm so proud of to be inducted with today. I just want to talk a little bit about Rich, because every time we go to a banquet and Rich has to talk about his players, he always, gets emotional. And it's just a testament to how strongly and how much he loved us as players and people. Rich is everything to us at Western. I know my teammates that all have had him as a coach would definitely agree. He supported us as student athletes. He supported our goals both academically and athletically. And he'd always say academically first, always. But I think it's quite appropriate that Rich calls himself the conductor. He had a vision for our program. He brought us together and supported us to believe in ourselves, and to also believe in each other as a unit and as a team. The funny thing, Rich never made decisions for us. He allowed us to make decisions as a team, and that really helped us grow as student athletes and people. One of the, I would have to say the most memorable things that happened during my time at WestCon is 9/11. I was training to become a New York City firefighter, which Rich was allowing me to do that training on top of playing. So I was driving to New York City to do training 2 days a week on top of my academic studies and my training for volleyball. So needless to say, I was pretty tired most of the time. But as you all know, on that day, 9/11 happened. And I believe it was the weekend of the LECs that were supposed to kick off. Some of my mentors in the fire department and the chaos of that day, a lot of people were missing. And I was also a volunteer firefighter for 10 years. So a lot of people that were helping me and that I loved and that I worked with were missing that day, and you remember the turmoil of the day. And Rich gave us that choice in a very difficult time to sit with each other as a team, to share how we felt at that time, to really talk about and clarify our emotions, for our families that live in the area, for us as a university, the fear that we felt that day, and how to come together as a team. And I just thought, And I think about it now to this day, you know, when that anniversary passes, how profound that was, that our coach would allow us to make the decision on whether to play, what we were feeling that day, and how we were digesting and coming to terms with what happened. I thought that was a really adult decision that he allowed us to have. And that is just, that's the story of Rich. He allowed us to grow. He gave us those hard decisions, and he made us make them. He would not make them for us. You know, so it allowed us to grow as people. It allowed me to grow as a leader. And I'm so thankful for him in those 3 years. Rich, don't you do that. Don't you cry. So it's very important that he knows we are so thankful for you, not only me, but all of the athletes that you coached during your years at Western. And we love you for it. And lastly, thank you to the LEC for creating an environment of healthy competition. The atmosphere when we played at all of these schools was just so electric, and each university had its own personality that I remember once a season would pass, another one would come along, and I'd be like, oh, we're going to that gym, and we're playing those teams, and those athletes have, you know, that school has this personality. And it was just so wonderful to go through it. So please, staff of the LEC, for all that you do, thank you so much. Thank you for creating that environment. To the athletic directors of all of the schools, I love to fight you guys. You know, all the schools, especially Eastern. Oh man, that's like, for me, that's like the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. It was so much fun to play against you guys. You each had a personality, and competing against you for each individual school was so special to us. And I look back on the games and I can still feel the mood and the excitement and the pride to be able to play in those moments. So thank you, and I hope that the LEC will have many more years of creating those moments for student athletes. So thank you.
Concluding remarks are always the worst, right? I mean, who can follow any of our inductees? Thank you so much for sharing yourselves with us today and sharing your stories. And I'm sure I can speak for all of my colleagues when we say that we are reinvigorated to provide the best possible experience we have for current and future student athletes. I do have one favor to ask of you this afternoon. If we could please have our inductee class join us up at the front for a couple group photos, we would be grateful. And for the rest of you, they're not going to kick us out this minute, so please feel free to socialize and enjoy each other. And thank you again for taking this time out of your busy lives to join us today. Thank you.